Welcome to the LynnSanity, a podcast for the Running Hook Podcast Network.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the LynnSanity podcast, a part of the Running Hook Podcast Network. And before we get into anything else, we would like to ask that if you would be able to rate, even subscribe or review this podcast if you're listening, or if you've listened to our shows in the past, please do so on Apple Podcasts. And if interested, please follow on Spotify and the numerous amounts, our social media at The Running Hook on Twitter, at TikTok, and Instagram is also available. Now we will continue our podcast. And so without a further ado, we have to talk some play-in basketball, you guys. This is what we're talking about. Our Monday show is making its debut. And we'll start off here by introducing Zach Griffith. Zach, you have plenty coming up with Circle City Cinema. You have the Road to F9. You got the favorite movie series that you're rolling out, the best picture draft that you're rolling out, the Boys in the Hood. Dude, you're just doing everything. But somehow, some way, you're continuing to be on our pods every Monday. So it's going to be a thrill for you, I'd have to assume here.
Listen, movies are my wife. Sometimes I cheat on them a little bit with basketball and football. I cheat on them a little bit.
Oh man, little Bill Gates action.
Little Bill Gates. I step out in the hallway and
nice little intern,
little flirtation with the NBA. But no, I haven't talked hoops in not in the moderator chair for a while. So I'm looking forward to this. Looking forward to this a lot. Some play-in, some nicknames for certain players. So I can't wait. Some players will be ripped. We're not NBA PR here, Caleb. We're gonna rip some players. We're gonna rip some coaches.
I mean, it's possible. I'm never going to rule it out. And Bryce, it's the co-host is back in action after a nice solid weekend vacation. How does it feel to come back on? And how was the vacation for you, Bryce?
It was a good vacation. It was a great vacation. It was finally a break from Caleb Lynn. It just did my heart good. I couldn't handle him anymore. Oh man, it was delightful. I don't feel like I'm 50 years old anymore. I feel young, vibrant. And I mean, let's be honest, Caleb, this is the reason why people are tuning into our podcast. It's me. It's definitely me. That's why they're going to subscribe to our YouTube channel here. So I'm happy to be back, Caleb.
Hey, what about my vacation, Caleb? What about mine?
Zach, go ahead. How was yours? How was yours? I didn't think you had one because you've basically been vacationing on the movie pods.
Yeah, you bum.
I took a little 2-day excursion to Sin City, to Las Vegas.
Yeah. Get the people. So yeah, you did put out as much content as you used to the last week because of Vegas.
I walked right into Flamingo Sportsbook. I said, "Give me Suns plus 1,400 to win the title," and I did it. $20.
They had to look at you funny, right? They had to look at you and be like, "You sure?"
They absolutely.
$20. It pays out like $250, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. So,
hey, pizza's on you next time if they win the title.
Hey, it's not the only bet I have lined up.
Oh,
we'll get to that later.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's a nice little teaser there, Zach. And so, without further ado, let's just give some initial thoughts on the regular season. And Bryce, I'll just start with you here. Obviously, the format of the 72 games, was an adjustment that was made this year. How did you think it turned out? How did you think the NBA handled that? Did you think it was effective? Did you think it was the right decision? And, in general, how did you feel like the NBA handled it?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it was the right decision, but we saw a slight uptick in injuries. I wouldn't say enough to be like, okay, this was just an absolute abominable idea. From the season itself, you look at it, and we saw some pretty incredible things. We continue to see the passing of the torch to the next generation. We've seen veterans do some amazing things. Steph Curry comes to mind most definitely about, the tear that he went on here towards the end of the season. But you're also starting to see some older veterans break down. We see LeBron, he misses another period of games with the ankle injury. There's a lot of good things happening in the NBA. We're kind of in a transition period where we're getting the best of both worlds, right? We're seeing younger guys come into their own. We're seeing veterans doing veteran things, and we're seeing some of the older veterans start to pull back a little bit, but some of them are still going hard. LeBron's still going to go hard. Chris Paul obviously turning the Phoenix Suns around. So I enjoyed the season. It's kind of fun. That's going to be something that when we have kids, they're not going to have that transition period really. Yeah. It's going to be, all right, these are your stars, and they're going to be the stars for the next 10 to 15 years. You're going to have to wait for the next round of talent.
Sure. Very understandable. Zach, how'd you feel about the regular season?
I think this is the most wide open season we've had in terms of who could win the title since 2010. This was before Big Three Miami Heat.
Wow.
Spurs were still rolling.
Wow.
Celtics still had their core. But guys, there's you could tell me either LA team. You could tell me the Suns. You could tell me the Nets, the Sixers.
Sure.
You could tell me 5 or 6 teams will win the title and be like, sure, yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm. And the Nuggets before Jamal Murray got hurt. So I think it's the most wide open season since 2010. That was Celtics-Lakers the second time. Lakers won 7, but
sure.
I think Bryce said the injury thing, yeah, and I agree with that. I think the NBA actually had precedent for a season like this. There's different circumstances, though. If you look at the 11-12 season, the lockout, they played 66 games. I thought that was a fine length, and I thought that would have been a fine length for this.
Sure.
They still started the season, I think, around the same time, around Christmas time, but
yeah,
I thought that would have been a better length. But
yeah, no, I
injuries
agree.
aside, I thought it was a really fun season.
Yeah, I agree. I think the injuries aspect of it really sucks. I mean, some of these teams that didn't make it, or some of the teams that, even made it, could have been better, right? Could have been even better. And then, it's all this, there's all these things that had to be considered, and it was a crazy year. I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a crazy year, a lot to think about. And the NBA can't sit there and be like, well, I got this, and I know that this is going to work. I mean, COVID at the time that they needed to make this schedule was still very real, and they were still needing to adjust that by basically everybody in the country. So, I mean, it was one of those things where I understand why they did what they did. I get it. The injuries really did suck. I think that's probably the hardest part of the season, is there's so many teams that we're going to talk about today that probably are way better if they don't have injuries. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, you're excited to see the depth of the league. But again, I also think that we got to figure out a way to make the regular season valuable, you guys. I just think we're not doing that. It's not being played like that. I think the shortening of games actually, in my opinion, made the regular season less valuable. They need to do something to create the regular season to be more important. I mean, I understand, sure, it's different than the playoffs. You take your game up another level in the playoffs, but I mean, I shouldn't feel like the regular season is like rookie level, right? I just shouldn't feel like that. Players just don't seem to give that energy that I think is needed on an every night basis, because at the end of the day, people are coming, to see players, they want entertainment. Okay. For an example, I understand why Boston sat their guys on Sunday. I understand it. But you think people in New York said to themselves, you know what? I want to see New York play Boston, and I want to see Taco Fall get 20 bucks.
No, my God.
I'm just saying, that's a problem that's a problem. And it's, I understand it was the end of the season and the Celtics were going to clinch, but I'm just saying, that has to happen. These players are, I think they're valuable to the fans. And I think it's really hard for them to see that because of the ability. I mean, sure, social media helps, but I think it's very difficult for these players to understand how much it means for the fans to see them play. And I think that the regular season has to have more of an emphasis to be better. And so, without further ado, let's move into some actual basketball, please, and we'll get into the play-in here, and we'll start off with the matchup that personally I know that these two gentlemen are feeling is intriguing. We'll do Hornets and Pacers. Zach, I know you're a big Pacer guy. Let's not make a mistake to that. But I know you've had your fair share of criticism of this team. You've been very, very critical with the injuries, critical of some particular coaching hires. You've been very critical, and then you also, on the other hand, one of these teams has also been a team that you feel like does not get enough praise. That does not get enough in terms of getting talked about with their coaching. So I'm curious to hear your takes just overall initially about the matchup before we dig into it too deep.
Well, look, with the Pacers, the injuries and stuff, you can't help that. No. But, I mean, I've told you guys off the record, Nate Bjorkgren, my most hated coach of all time. I hate this dude. I think he sucks. I think he's taken the torch from Luke Walton as the worst coach in the NBA.
Oh, man.
And he took it when Luke Walton beat him in a game. I forget how much. I think it was 11.
You didn't like
should have been like 25. Should have been like 25. Bad luck for Bjorkgren. But I'm not going to get into what my worst case scenario for this game would be. My worst case scenario would be Pacers win the play-in tournament and Bjorkgren gets another year. But that's neither here nor there. The Hornets, by the way, on the other hand, James Borrego, I think should be at least in the conversation for Coach of the Year. I wouldn't vote for him. I'd vote for Monty Williams. But, guys, this guy has had to deal with injuries. One of them to arguably their best player when he went down, Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
And LaMelo Ball, probably the most intriguing rookie of this year.
Caleb has had to eat crow on.
Yeah.
So
I'm sick
hard.
and tired. I'm sick and tired of you trying to act like that I'm still a part of, that I still have this.
I don't. No, because he shut you up.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, he did.
That's not true.
Yeah, he did.
He got me to the. I have said multiple times. I was wrong for this take. I need your pettiness to.
I believe you said he was fun.
Well,
did you say that?
Yeah, I'll say that again. He's a fun player.
You loved him in fantasy.
Yes, I did. Now, Zach, you have any more?
Well, Gordon Hayward's out. He's not playing this game, which is a big break for the Pacers. But
yeah, it is.
As somebody who wants the Pacers to lose for draft purposes, for get the coach the fuck out of town purposes, that's too bad. But
Zach Griffith is on the record as saying he wants the Pacers to tank.
Yes, first time in my life. I've never been a guy. You guys have known me for a while now. I've never been a guy that said I've never been a big tank guy.
This is big for you. You're going on the record with this.
But now with all the injuries, with Bjorkgren just sucking, with the team basically leading a mutiny against him, it's like, just lose, get a draft pick. We might fuck up the pick anyway, but just tank, and then Bjorkgren get Bjorkgren out of here. But Hayward's out. Going back to LaMelo, he leads the Hornets in assists and steals. Yeah. And even if Brogdon plays, I think he's going to run circles around our guards. I don't see it. Look for Bismack and Malik Monk to be X factors here, because Sabonis plays, which I'm guessing he's going to play. He's going to be up against Big Mac and Bismack. And Sabonis struggles against these body types of Bismack, like these big, strong dudes who are about his height or a little shorter, and he just can't. I don't know, for whatever. Yeah, I know he's strong enough, but it's like he doesn't have a left hand, and Bismack's a good enough defender. He'll try and force him that way. So it's just like, yes, we joke about him, but he could actually. He's actually been pretty good this year. We've kind of had to eat it on him, Bryce. But
yeah, we had.
I won't eat it on the contract.
You definitely need to eat on him.
Contract still sucks. But
yeah, that's fair.
And forget Brogdon and Sabonis maybe not playing. We might not have Edmund Sumner. We're probably not going to have Aaron Holiday, and we're definitely not going to have Jeremy Lamb. So
yeah,
that's, whatever. And Jeremy Lamb, it actually might help having him because that could be like a little revenge game for him against the Hornets. But
that'd be nice.
Yeah, I want to point to the last meeting between these teams. The Hornets won. This was a game Miles Turner played, by the way, and the only key Pacers guy that was out besides Warren was Brogdon. So the Pacers are pretty healthy this game. Hornets won by 17. Cody Zeller had 17 points. Miles Bridges had 23 points. And Miles Turner played. So, we gave up 114 that game. So I'm just really... I know we probably have the two best players in the game, LeVert and Sabonis, but I'm concerned, especially down low. I don't know.
That's what I wanted to ask. That's what I wanted to ask Bryce about. I know that's been the talk, right? The Pacers, you could argue, have the first and second best players in the series. But if what I love to do when determining matchups is do a 1 through 8 or a 1 through 10. Right. And I just rank the 10 best players regardless in the series. Well, couldn't you make a legitimate argument that the Hornets would then get number 3, number 4, number 5,
absolutely,
and number 6, potentially number 7? Couldn't the Hornets get the next 5 slots? And is that a bigger deal than having the two best players on the court, especially when I don't feel like the first 2 players on the court are significantly better in this case? Does that make any sense? I don't think Karis LeVert is just an infinity level compared to the Hornets' best player, depending on whoever you think that is. Is that a fair statement, right?
I don't know, because I think there's a case for both, right? I really like the way LeVert has been playing. He's been balling, Zach.
Awesome.
He's been absolutely phenomenal. And Zach, I don't recall the date of the last Hornets game, Zach. I don't remember.
It was April 2nd.
Okay, so it was April. So that was a little bit before LeVert really got it going. Is that fair to say? How many did he have that game?
That's a good point. Do not remember.
16.
He had 16 that game?
Yep.
Okay.
16.
So it's not like he had an awful game either, but he's obviously, I think he's been around 20 points a game.
No, it's a really
somewhere
fair
in
point.
there.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's going to change the dynamic a little bit, but to cancel out Karis LeVert's performance, you have all these extra injuries, right?
Sure.
And then the Hornets, they've kind of mixed it up with putting PJ Washington at the 5 and putting Miles Bridges at the 4,
they have.
which could create some issues. Now, PJ Washington, I've watched him, but I don't know how good his outside jump shot is. I haven't watched him that in depth.
Against us, it's pretty good, Bryce.
Well, that's not shocking.
If you're going to look at it just against the Pacers, his last game, he was 1 for 4 from 3. And then he's 39% from 3 this season.
Okay.
He's taken about 5 attempts.
Okay. So, he can hit him. He can absolutely hit him.
Sure.
It really is going to come down to the Pacers defense. Honestly, I think the offense is going to take care of itself. We have the other X factor here, guys. What are you going to get from O'Shea Brissett? I know that's silly to say, but the dude can.
That's not silly to say.
He can play.
No, it's not silly to say.
He can absolutely play. Is he going to score 31 like he did the other night in a game that really didn't matter? No, probably not. But he can give you really good minutes. In my opinion, I think he plays really good defense. They put him down low. He can block the basketball. All right, he's not a scrub on defense.
No, he's not.
And he rebounds extremely well for a guy his size. So maybe that's your counter to PJ Washington is O'Shea Brissett. But then again, what do you do with Sabonis in the middle?
That's right.
I don't know. I really don't know. So, there's going to be some matchup issues, no doubt. I think it's a really intriguing game. Obviously, having Malcolm Brogdon would be a massive help for the Pacers offensively.
Yes, it would.
And in some ways defensively, because I feel like Brogdon can neutralize, a guy like Ball or Rozier or Graham or somebody like that.
I don't know about that. I don't know. he's been really slow this year. I don't know what it is. Maybe
it's probably the hamstring injury. It's probably all the injuries he's dealt with this season.
I just feel like it's going to come down to like LaMelo and Terry are going to carry them, and we don't have any perimeter guys who can slow them down, especially if Brogdon's like
McConnell plays good defense.
Yeah, and then there's Graham. We forget about Graham.
Yep.
And I just think
he's playing well.
Their top two guys are going to get theirs, and ours are going to get theirs. Right. But then it's like the other guys. And I think the Hornets' other guys.
Well, what Justin Holiday are we going to get?
Right.
That's it. That was, Yep.
I just think Charlotte's other guys are going to do more than the Pacers.
So here's the thing that I look at. I mean, if you look at the starting lineups and look at the way that they've handled that of recent, I think Bismack is a really nice counter to Sabonis on defense. I think he's a good counter to Sabonis on defense. I don't think he's a bad defender.
We're being serious.
I think. I'm being that serious. No, I mean, but
we're being serious about Bismack Biyombo.
I think he's a very solid player. And I think next year, he's a free agent, and next year he's going to get signed, and he's going to be a really nice fit for somebody. So I like what he's doing. Okay. And then I think that's a really good counter. To me, I'm going to get a little nerdy here, but I think you guys are going to agree with me once I start breaking this down. So I think it's really going to come down to a couple players in this game, you guys. I know you talked about Brissett, so I won't do a lot on Brissett, but I honestly think a guy like Jalen McDaniels has a legit impact in this game because the thing with a guy like that is he's a staple for what they want to try to do on the defensive side of the ball, give you that length and the athleticism that they want. I think the Charlotte aspect of it is, yes, you have these guards. You have Rozier, you have Ball, and you have Graham. And Bismack's a very good protector, and Washington has his nights. But I think when you're talking about other pieces, the other pieces that I'm thinking of are the McDaniels. I'm thinking of the guys like that, the Malik Monks in his first playoffs, in a legitimate type of role. Like I'm curious to see what we get. Like I'm not kidding when I said this earlier. And Zach, I'm curious to see if you would push back on this. If you did a 1 through 10 and you ranked the Pacers and Hornets and you put the top 10 guys in the series, I feel like the Charlotte Hornets probably have more of the top 10 guys. I think that's a fair thing to say. And that's a pretty good indication. Not to mention the fact that Borrego is a better coach than Bjorkgren. He is a better coach. I'm sorry, you guys, but he's a better coach than Bjorkgren.
He's going to run circles around Bjorkgren.
To be honest with you, I think this game could go really tight. I think it could go really tight, or I think it's got blowout city. Because if the Pacers are just going to come out there and play dysfunctional, if they're going to play with that sense of, who gives a rip type of mentality. But I can't trust the defense, Bryce. I know I agree with you that you feel like that's going to be how they win, but how can you trust their defense? And Bryce, they're giving up 140 points every other game, Bryce. I mean, first off, you never see that with the Pacers. You never see 140 points in the Pacers next to each other. But then at the same time, I think the Hornets have the firepower to light them up if the Pacers play that lazy on the defensive end. There just seems like too many question marks in that game that I don't like for them. The other thing to keep an eye on, I think, in this series, and then I'll ask you a little bit more about it, is I'm very curious to see how Bjorkgren looks to manage his rotations. Because if you look at the stats indicate that the Pacers have a pretty deep team. But I know that the injuries have been a problem. So, Bryce, I know you've been high on McConnell pretty much all year. So does McConnell, what are you looking to use? Like, McConnell probably has to be in big time minutes in this game. Right? But I don't is it crazy to say that maybe, say you play the starters for most of the first quarter? Okay, I'm just trying to think of a way the Pacers could win this game because I'm not crazy on it, but I'm trying to make that point for our network. I am full court pressing LaMelo Ball. I'm going old school full court pressing. Wow. I am full court pressing this rookie point guard who's never been to a big game in his life. And do not sit here and tell me that the Australia games. Don't sit here and tell me the NBL. Don't sit here and tell me the NBL is a spotlight that's close to the NBA. Don't seriously don't tell me.
Chino Hills High School state championships.
I mean, I understand he's had the spotlight in high school, but this is the pros. Is it fair to say that's a bad idea, Bryce? Could you make the argument that maybe they potentially even go small and have McConnell simply come in and full court press the living crap out of LaMelo Ball?
Yeah, why not? Why not? I mean, he's the league leader in steals this year, off the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see him playing minutes. I mean, it's not like McConnell hasn't played in some games. I mean, sure. He's considered a veteran now. And I love his energy. I love what he brings to the Pacers. I love what he brings to the lineups that he's been plugged into. I mean, shoot, he's dropped a triple-double. Almost had a couple other triple-doubles this season. He's not a scrub. I mean, the guy is high energy all the time. It's like he's like Aaron Kraft when he was in college.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolute defensive pest. So, yeah, why not? Why not get up in Ball's grill, disrupt it? I think that disrupts the flow of the Hornets offense and has to put the ball in somebody else's hands. Now, they have other guys that are capable, but, I mean, they're going to tire out. They're going to tire out. I mean, do you trust Terry Rozier to lead you to a win like that? Maybe.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's incapable.
I actually, here's a really hot take. So when I ranked who not overall better, I'm not saying that, but who I trust. Terry Rozier is the player I trust the most out of any of these players.
All right, I'll go with you on that.
I think the most big games.
He's been in the most big games, right? He's been in the most big games, and he's performed well. He's given me a good track record, guys. I am seriously concerned about if I was a Pacer guy, and I'm curious, Zach. I'll let you take this one. I am nervous as crap about Sabonis because if Sabonis is in foul trouble, are you really going to convince me that Goga Bitadze can play the minutes that he needs to play to give the Pacers a victory over the Charlotte Hornets?
Let me tell you.
I don't care who he's guarding. I don't care if it's Bismack, Cody Zeller. I don't care.
These two things. Sabonis gets in foul trouble early, we lose. Or if Sabonis and LeVert don't combine for at least 45, we lose. Because that three-guard monster of the Hornets,
I like that.
Ball, Rozier, and Graham.
Yeah.
They're going to get theirs. And like I said about the others. Do
you think all three get 20?
No, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I bet Rozier gets 20.
Okay.
I bet Ball has 10 assists.
Okay.
I wouldn't be.
But that's
Graham probably gets
leading the good things.
15.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I just don't. It's the others, man. I don't see our.
I don't either.
Role guys outplaying theirs, and I just don't. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Borrego's going to run circles around Bjorkgren. It's not even going to be close. He's going to draw up. You remember when Brad Stevens and Brett Brown were going head-to-head in the playoffs? Yeah. It's going to be like that. I'm not saying Borrego's on Brad Stevens' level, but Bjorkgren's so bad. He's so bad. And Borrego's the Coach of the Year candidate, in my opinion.
Sure.
He's going to kill us. He's going to kill us.
And Zach, didn't you say the Pacers were favored at one point?
Favored. We are favored in this game by 1.5.
I mean, I don't know how to make this bet any easier for folks, but how can you sit there and bet on the Pacers right now?
I'm telling you,
I'm sorry. Can you give me a reason, Bryce? Can you give me a reason why you would bet for the Pacers at this point? I mean, anything about them doesn't give me any confidence.
I have been thoroughly impressed about how they finished off this season. I was fine with it.
I'll say that we didn't roll over.
I am actually picking my Pacers to win this game.
Okay.
Wow.
I don't know how they're going to win. I just feel like they're going to win.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Well, let's get into predictions then. So, Bryce, you thought that. Zach, what's your take here? Who do you think's got it?
Listen, man.
Take your ball and go home if you don't pick the Pacers.
Just be real.
Oh.
I've watched the Pacers probably 50 games this year. And it's been really nice how we have fought these past few games when that report came out about Bjork and how he's a dumbass. But I just think, no, I'm taking the Hornets.
I'm
taking the Hornets.
You can't blame Bryce.
Yes, I am a fan, Bryce.
Yeah, that's I respect it. I respect it. Zach.
I'm taking the Hornets. It comes down to the role, guys. Once again,
I agree. I think the health is just too much of a concern for me. I just don't like the potential foul trouble that I feel like those guys can have, and I think Borrego is. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to get it done for this game. My other take that I really like. Is actually, I actually think they're going to get into playoffs. I actually think they're going to get into playoffs. I am the firm, and we'll talk, and that leads me into my next conversation, and we can talk more about who we think will represent the 7 and the 8 spots. So the Wizards and the Celtics are in the second game. Wizards, look, they've been playing really well lately. Let's not joke around. I mean, Bryce, you said your fair share about Russell Westbrook here, but I mean, what he's been doing has been very good, and you've been very quiet. And Brad Beal has been a very solid piece. And, now I think the last couple of games he's given me some head scratcher statistics, but I mean, I'm not sitting there like panicked. I mean, you know what you're getting, right? You're getting a top 15 player in the NBA. Meanwhile, Boston has plenty of dysfunction with Brad Stevens, not to mention the fact that every guy feels like they're injured at this point.
With Brad Stevens.
Is there any reason, just off the top here, I guess before we get deep, initial thoughts of this matchup here. And Bryce, we'll start with you because you've had your fair share of comments here on both of these particular teams, respectively.
Yeah, Caleb, your comment intrigued me.
Go ahead.
Dysfunction with Brad Stevens. Why did you phrase it that way, Caleb? I'm confused.
I mean, it's just a comment. It's a combination. It's a combination of Ainge and the media wanting to put wanting to put some sort of pressure on the Celtics. It's not because of anything that has to do with wins and losses.
You said dysfunction with Brad Stevens.
There's obviously there's a dysfunction regarding the way that this season has been put out. It's not on Stevens here. I'm not on that.
We got him. No, you need no.
We got him.
No.
You need on the Stevens take, Bryce. This is ridiculous.
I'm just saying they're not going to fire him because Jaylen Brown got hurt and he's out for the season.
That's not why they're not going to fire him.
Yeah,
that's not why.
They're not going to fire him because he's a top 5 coach, Bryce.
No. So be it. He'll go before Ainge goes. I'm not here to be on a soapbox day. I'm here to talk play-in games. I'm here to talk Russell Westbrook.
You're here to talk about the Celtics, though. You're here to talk about the Celtics, and the fact is that Brad Stevens is a guy that's probably going to be kept around. You could make the case. Zach. I know we talked about this a little bit. Bill Simmons was discussing the fact that Boston, look, if you're going to keep 4 people on Boston at this point, it's probably going to be, right, you're not changing ownership because the ownership probably won't sell.
What he said, yeah.
Ainge, Stevens, Brown, and Tatum. Those are your locks. Other than that, we have no idea what's going to happen with the rest of the team.
Well, let me ask Bryce this, since he's so positive it's Brad Stevens' fault.
Yeah, sure.
If you switch the coaches in this game, if Scott Brooks was coaching the Celtics are not in this play-in tournament. They're not in the playoffs. They're not.
Sure.
No, they're not.
Sure. Okay.
So don't tell me Brad Stevens is the problem, Bryce.
Okay, that's fine.
Well, and then the big factor to this is they've basically not played with their starting lineup this season. They have not gotten their lineup healthy. They have not gotten anything healthy. This team has been bombarded by COVID more than any team in the league. It's not even close.
Right.
If you look at all the games that they have been impacted by combined as a team.
At horrible times.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Boston has been dominated by COVID this year. I mean, they just have. And you're giving this team too much flack, Bryce. You really are. And whatever.
Yeah, y'all are about to pick the Wizards though. When we get to predictions, y'all are about to pick the Wizards anyway.
It's Danny Ainge's fault.
It's not Stevens' fault. You are sitting there and blaming Stevens for problems.
They're not going to get rid of Ainge before Stevens. They're just not going to do it.
Bryce, if Brad Stevens gets fired, he has a job within the hour, Bryce.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I totally agree.
So then what do you think the problem is?
The problem is that the coaching carousel that happens in these leagues, you have a very short window. It is very small. And if you don't make it happen in that small window, you are ousted.
So 3 conference finals doesn't make it happen?
No.
Oh my God.
Bryce, if I'm Wick, the owner of the Celtics, and I'm looking at this, Brad Stevens, what he's done with this core of Tatum and Brown, like Caleb said, I mean, 3 conference finals, one of them was before Tatum and Brown, but
sure.
If I'm Wick Grosbeck, I'm looking at this like, all right, here's what Brad Stevens has done. He got me to win within 1 game of the finals without our best player.
Yes.
Almost made the finals last year, and it was a weird season. I'm not firing Brad Stevens. I'm going to fire the guy who, yes, he brought us a title. He's brought us a lot of great times. He was great for us as a player. It's time to move on.
They're not going to move off Danny Ainge.
Wick Grosbeck is too smart of an owner to say, I'm keeping the GM over this top 5 coach.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just telling you, they're going to make a change.
But you're not giving Ainge. You're not giving Ainge enough crap, though. You're taking the stance of, well, look at Boston, not because they're going to just keep Ainge because he's just. You haven't been saying anything against Ainge, Bryce, which is our problem. You're not saying, well, you're not saying Danny Ainge has had a horrible roster construction. You have not said this. You're just saying, well, he's not going to get fired because Stevens is going to.
This is a fireable offense by Danny Ainge this year. I don't care if it's a weird season.
I'm not
disputing that. I'm not disputing that.
He's pissed away a prime years from his 2 best guys.
I'm just saying.
Pissed it away.
I'm just saying.
I don't think I'm not saying you're crazy for saying it. But you have to go at Ainge. You're not you have to.
Sure, Ainge definitely deserves blame, but again, they're not going to get rid of Ainge before Stevens. I don't believe it until I see it.
Bryce. I wouldn't be so sure, Bryce.
All right, well, let's break down the team then. Let's
talk about it.
When you look at Boston, obviously the big factor for them and reason that they're here is because they simply could not get healthy. Right? I think every one of us would agree with that. They did not get healthy. They really did not. They have horrible depth. They've had horrible depth all season. So the problem is when you're not healthy already, your top 6 hardly can't play with each other. You're not going to be that good. And Jaylen Brown, obviously getting hurt's a big deal. A lot of people have had flack on Kemba Walker. The thing with Boston right now is I can't trust their depth. I cannot trust the fact that they're legitimately going to trust Jabari Parker in a playoff series.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Like, I can't trust Jabari Parker in a playoff series. I think it's tricky for me to trust Thompson. I don't think Thompson's a great. I don't think he's been very good. I sent you guys. You guys, they're playing Cornette. They're going to maybe play Cornette. That's a real thing. If the guys can't get healthy, that's a real thing. And it is a really disappointing Celtics season. And not to just keep reiterating what Bill said, but this is a pretty good point considering that guy basically listens to the Celtics and watches Celtics all the time. Boston has no guy in that locker room who's going to sit there and defend that team. There are a lot of players that are not defending what they are. He mentioned it as soft. He basically said, look, the roster in general is soft.
It is.
They don't have a guy willing to defend themselves. They don't have a guy willing to get under people's skin. Right. And then the other argument that I want to have, and I'm curious to see where you guys stand on this because I haven't mentioned this to you guys at all. I think this is a ridiculously bad Marcus Smart season. He is not as good of a defender as he once was. He's just not. He's trying to be all physical, basically trying to be a bodybuilder, basically a bodybuilder he's trying to be for this team when he has no need to do that. He's over helping. There's a lot of times when you watch him where it's just like, wow, dude, like you're just not the same. you're not the same, and your offense isn't as good. You're rushing shots. You play frustrated, and you get rid of all these possessions. It's not good for Boston. I'm telling you. I don't see how this gets fixed against Washington. And Bryce, I know how much you don't like Russell Westbrook. Okay, but we're not talking about a series. We're talking about one game.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to sit here and say that Russell Westbrook is not going to be. He's going to be really. I feel like he's set to be good in this game. Zach, am I crazy for that? I feel like it's set up for a big Russell game. This is about the best time you can have Russell Westbrook on your team,
man.
In my opinion,
I'm expecting. Don't be shocked at like a 40-point triple double from Russ, because like who is going to guard? Wow. Don't be shocked. He's had 50-point triple doubles in the playoffs before.
Can I flip it? Can I flip it on you?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I do believe Russ is going to have a good game. Yes, he is built for these one gamers. I just want to pose the question because it's got to come up.
Yeah, sure.
If he totally has a Westbrook game, a vintage Westbrook game.
Okay.
How do you view Russell Westbrook as a whole?
I mean, it depends, Brian. I mean, you're saying, I'm assuming by you saying that, you're saying the Wizards would lose then?
Yeah, they lose because Westbrook shoots like 7 threes and only makes like 2 of them.
This is really bad if they lose. I mean, this is really bad.
They're being teed up here.
You should not be losing to this. You should not be losing to this team.
No, I agree.
And Russell,
it's not a trap question.
No, I mean,
seriously.
Well, to answer it, Bryce, my estimation of him, especially in the playoffs, I think he's a phenomenal regular season player. I don't think anybody can deny that. But
no, not at all.
My estimation of him, especially as a playoff guy, went down last year, and
I agree.
He took some of the most low IQ shots I've ever seen.
This is what he does in the playoffs. When we hashed it out. We had hashed it out last season. I told you all that was what was going to happen.
Well, I'll worry about that next round. But for this,
right.
For this, I mean, there's nobody on Boston who
I agree
can even come close to matching up.
I can't see how he can't get to the rim every single time. I can't. It feels like he's just going to get there anytime he wants to get there.
It'd be nice if they had Tice. But I mean, here's what we're not what we're seeing too. Yeah. Robert Williams is a game time decision.
Right.
For Tuesday. Now, I'm not saying, Robert Williams is this amazing player, but he matters on that team.
Oh, I love Robert Williams.
I like Robert Williams. I know there were people there, among us that did not like Robert Williams, and I disagree with that because I think he's a big part of what he is.
Yeah.
When you say a tough guy, when you say they don't have an enforcer or a guy who will defend himself, I think Robert Williams will, in my opinion. I think he's the closest thing. I think
that's a good way to put it. He's the closest thing. He's 23. I need him to just kind of get a little more.
After the Tice trade, he took a step up.
Yeah.
And I expected him to because I felt like Robert Williams was being held back. He didn't play enough minutes. He didn't get a chance. I think he can be a double-double machine.
I agree.
In my opinion. I think that's an even
a lot of Capella to his game.
Yeah. I think it's a big deal if he does not play. It's an even bigger deal. It'll be even harder for Boston to win this game.
If he doesn't play, are we going to get like a semi-big Robin Lopez game? Like a double-double? Double-double for Robin Lopez?
Why are you still on Lopez?
Because
who's down low?
He's actually been like a legit post scorer this year.
Who's down low for Boston, right?
It's pretty ridiculous.
Taco Fall, baby.
Oh.
Okay. No, I think he could. Well, him or Gafford, Zach. Gafford's been really good for Washington.
Maybe we get a nice little Hachimura game. Is Hachimura's playing right now? Yeah.
Yeah, but the key for him is it just depends on how you match up. See, I don't even know how do you think Boston's going to match up with?
I think Tatum's got to be on Beal.
Do you realize how worn out he's going to be? He's going to be so done, you guys.
I don't.
But who's going to guard Tatum? Who's going to guard Tatum though?
That's the advantage that's the advantage. But again, if you're going to have him guard Beal and run with Beal the entire time, his offense is not
Bertans on Tatum.
Oh, stop it.
Honestly, I
could see Hachimura on him, actually.
I was about to say,
yeah.
They'll throw him at him. It's just not going to work well.
No, it's not. I think you could see Beal on Tatum a little bit.
Sure.
I sure hope not.
You guys want to know another funny joke here?
Go ahead.
The Celtics are favored in this game.
Oh, what's the line?
Yeah, what's the line?
I don't remember. I just remember on DraftKings they were favored.
Oh no.
That's why I took the Wizards.
That's a good bet.
The Wizards have had, I mean, obviously their inside game, shout out to the power hour. It was a good point by Dylan Hughes this week. Check it out. Thomas Bryant's given them a lot of versatility on offense, but I actually think this is when they're going to miss him because Alex Len's going to make the paint more congested. Lopez is going to make the paint more congested. So is Gafford. That's a problem in this game. You're going to want the court spread out.
Are these the worst bigs? The worst game for bigs that you've seen in a while?
Oh, sweet. Well,
run through all the bigs.
It's the worst out of these games we're talking about.
Well, okay, I can run. So just injuries, no injuries. Okay, I'm just doing.
Okay, so you're going fully healthy.
So fully healthy. You got Thomas Bryant, Gafford, Lopez, Alex Len, Robin Lopez. I mean, goodness gracious. Then Boston, you got Robert, Tristan, Cornette,
Taco.
Taco Fall. It's just we're looking at really awful center. And here's the thing, it's one of those things where this game's going to be so reliant on the perimeter. Okay, now in all seriousness, if you really wanted to pick against, if you were going to say, I think Boston's going to win, you actually have somewhat of an interesting case. Just hear me out. So Beal had a pathetic game on Sunday. He was 8 for 27, 30% from the field in a must-win game. Now, granted, they ended up winning, but 8 for 27. That's obviously not what you want in big games. I mean, there's a lot of panic there. Right? This is the first time where you can make a legitimate argument that Brad Beal has been the best player on his team in a postseason series, because technically, if you go back, John Wall was that dude when the Wizards made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So Brad Beal's became the number one guy. I think this game flat out ride or dies on Russell Westbrook, though. I think it ride or dies on it for the Wizards. And I think Russell Westbrook's going to do enough because I think Boston is that bad. And no joke, I think it's got a chance to be a 20-point blowout. I'm taking Washington. Yes. I'm taking Washington big.
I'm taking Washington big too. It's going to be by double digits. I think Westbrook has a monster triple-double. And I think if the Celtics even want to stay in the game, they're going to need 25 from Kemba. If they even want to
25, maybe a 40 to 50 piece from Tatum.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Bryce, you got anything on that, or you in agreement?
I'll take Washington as well. I don't know about big. If Brad Stevens as good as y'all say he is, then we'll
it's
see.
Not about that. They don't think that Semi Ojeleye is getting 20 minutes a game for this team.
Carson Edwards.
Coach him up.
Are you kidding me right now?
He's been trying, Bryce.
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
Come on.
Are you kidding me?
Come on.
What have you seen from Semi Ojeleye that can get significantly better?
I'm not saying get significantly better, but come up with a game plan.
I think Brad Stevens is going to have a tough time coming up with the game plan when he's got no freaking idea what his top six are every game.
All right. Well, I mean, that's fine.
I think that's a tough decision, Zach. I don't know about you.
I'm taking Washington. Though.
You know who we didn't talk about at all?
Oh, go ahead. Let's keep talking.
For good reason.
Go ahead.
Evan Fournier. Never came up once.
Well, no.
That was their big get at the deadline.
And Evan Fournier is not a bad player either. He was good in Orlando. Hey. I don't know what happened once he got to Boston. I really don't.
He's still battling through. He was battling a lot through COVID. There's been a lot of talk about how he's been feeling like it's almost like a concussion in the way that he's playing. He feels like he's just getting back to his groove. But I mean, at the same time,
but they almost had Drummond.
He's not a game changer. He's not a game. Fournier's not a guy that's just going to alter. He's not that insane elite game changer that spins your opinion in the series. He's just a good player. And I don't see how he hasn't been ideal necessarily, though I do think they'll re-sign him next year. I think Fournier, the get is not for this year, the get's for next year. Get's for next year. That's just me. But we'll see where it goes. Next up, let's get to the West. Spurs and Grizzlies. The Spurs are the last seed. They've pretty much been the last seed the entire time because everybody else below them pretty much sucked. And then the Grizzlies had a chance to get to the 8th seed, but they lost to the Warriors, and they lost to the Warriors just simply because they don't have Steph Curry. It had nothing to do with anything else. I personally think that this game between the Spurs and the Grizzlies is it's going to be, it's actually, I think it's really intriguing. I know I'm weird for this, but it's the truth. I think this game's got a lot to like. I am very intrigued by this DeJounte Murray-Ja Morant matchup. I don't care how nerdy that is. It's actually a really good matchup.
No, I agree.
DeJounte's defense and Ja's offense. And but here's my concern. Okay, if you're going to talk about the Grizzlies somehow getting out of this game, I mean, a lot of people are writing off the Spurs. We'll get to the Spurs, but the Grizzlies specifically, let's dive into them first. My biggest issue right now, Alex mentioned it multiple times at Power Hour, Ja Morant has no pull-up game on the 3, you guys.
No.
Golden State completely disrespected any sort of range that man had. They didn't even care that he was out there from the 3-point line. They didn't care. And that's exactly what teams are going to do. I'm not going to be shocked if Greg Popovich does the same thing. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not. It's Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich is a better coach than Steve Kerr. I would have to think there would be something there that Popovich will throw at Ja. So I guess the question I have for you then, and Bryce, I'll start with this, because I know you're big on Morant. You've been saying this is a very exciting team once they get healthy. What are your overall thoughts on the Grizzlies, and then how do you think they can fare in this matchup here?
In my opinion, I think it's a done deal. Give me the Grizzlies in this game. Like I really don't think there should be a discussion around it. I feel strongly about that. I get the Ja Morant holes.
No hesitation for you.
Not really.
Okay.
No, I think the bigs down low with Triple J, working out his game legs, and then Jonas Valanciunas, who's been balling this season. I mean, you look at every game, he's got like a double-double, even some 2020 games. So I think Ja Morant's going to make it happen. I think when the spotlight is on Ja Morant, he comes out and he plays. I get it. There's some holes in his offensive game, particularly the 3-point shooting. And Caleb, I think me and you, we talked about that off the record.
We have.
I totally get it. I like what Dylan Brooks brings. I really do. If he can stay out of foul trouble, I mean, he's a big X factor for them. And I like Taylor Jenkins as a coach too. I'm not saying he's better than Greg Popovich, but I don't know. I feel strongly about the Grizzlies moving on. It might be a close game, but I like the Grizzlies, honestly.
Well, here's the key for me. They played 3 games this season. Right, Spurs beat the Grizzlies 131-119 their first game, right? February 1st, last time Memphis and San Antonio played, Memphis won 133-102. Then Memphis in their second game on January 30th won 129-112. They've pretty much just been putting on points after points after points, you guys. I also think that the other issue for the Spurs, in my opinion, is I think JV. I think I know Ja's the factor. He's the star. Okay, let's not mistake that. But I mean, Valanciunas is going to feast like I feast on Thanksgiving dinners against Jakob Poeltl, baby.
Oh my goodness!
When you get the potatoes out there, okay, you get the corn out there, dude. I'm just going for it, all right. And as soon as he sees Jakob Poeltl on the other side, as soon as he sees Jakob Poeltl, as soon as he goes, oh shoot, Jakob Poeltl's guarding me. Oh, and then wait, off the bench, off the bench, I'm maybe looking at like Rudy Gay potentially having to guard.
No, you're looking at
maybe some Drew Eubanks.
Eubanks, baby. Yeah,
maybe I'm looking at Drew Eubanks. I mean, you guys, like, I think
That's
a lot of people are going to talk about Ja, but Valanciunas could go for a monster game because they have nobody who's even close to his physicality inside.
And nobody's talking about Valanciunas.
They're not.
He is just a monster. Anytime John Morant misses a layup, he's right there. You know what's happened. You're like, yep, that's 2 points. Oh, Valanciunas is right there. I mean, it is amazing.
Now they're doing Gorgie D. Yeah, Gorgie D. He's not even playing that much, so he's not even going to be a top player in the rotation. You're literally looking at Podol, who is going to play about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, like I don't see how they stop
before then.
I just don't see how they stop. I just don't see how they stop the inside presence of Memphis Grizzlies, and I just don't see it. Zach, is there anything that you have, in terms of this matchup that? Needs to be hit on? I mean, come on now.
Well, I was laughing when you said they lost to the Warriors because they don't have Steph Curry. Guess what, guys? They could have taken him in the 2009 draft. Instead.
No.
But you know what I will real quick, Zach. Real quick. I want to say one thing real quick. Like Dylan Brooks getting fouled out. Dylan Brooks had a really good game on, really good game. I don't know if you both watched it or followed it, but Dylan Brooks had a really good game defensively. He was pretty much on Steph Curry, but had a very good game. He fouled out with 6 minutes left in the game. That's when the game turned around. I'm not trying to sit here and say that the Warriors couldn't have came out with the win.
It's a fair point.
Dylan Brooks was really on it.
Are you hating on Steph Curry right now?
No, I'm not, Bryce. I'm sorry.
Because I will bury you if you hate on Steph Curry.
I'm sorry that I don't have a bunch of hotel rooms all over there.
I will bury you. I will bury you.
You have one in Cancun. You have one in Jamaica. You have one in Texas. You got one in Florida. You got one in LA. Continue, Zach.
Here's what I'll say about Valanciunas. Against the Spurs this year, and this goes right back to Mr. Jakob Poeltl. He's averaging 15 points, 13 rebounds, and a block. It's over. I'm with Bryce. Give me the Grizzlies blowout. 20-plus point victory. 20-plus. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't think we heard. Bryce, I don't know if we heard him.
Blowout.
What did you think the game was?
Oh, yeah. I think I got it. Now, Memphis is only favored by 3.5.
Blowout. Well, that line is wrong. Just like the Celtics line was wrong. Look, listen. I like the revenge games. All right?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, boy.
Kyle Anderson against the Spurs.
Yeah, baby. Kyle Anderson. Yeah. Kyle Anderson does not get enough respect. I don't care what y'all think.
He's going to take this old man game and he's going to shove it up their ass. That's what
baby. Kyle Anderson. He has been solid.
You don't need to look any further than Valanciunas versus Poeltl. This game's over. 20-plus points.
Well, that's a fair argument. I think I am intrigued by the guard matchups, but I just think for San Antonio at this point, the summary for your season is you're at a crossroads and you need to figure out where you're going to go. You need to figure out what you're going to do with Rudy Gay and DeMar DeRozan. Podol's not.
Rudy Gay needs to retire.
Yeah, he does.
He would play somewhere. I disagree with that. He'd play somewhere next year.
Yeah, the Lakers.
He's good enough to play somewhere. He's good enough for a contending team.
Go back home to Memphis. Homecoming.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be fun.
I think the tricky part with
go back to Toronto.
There's two different identities, and the problem is the Spurs just have too many younger perimeter guys. There's just too many. Vassell, Walker, Murray, DeRozan, Johnson, Derek White, who's not even fucking playing.
Well, what about this guy, Caleb?
Oh,
Jaren Jackson. Who's going to guard Jaren Jackson?
Well, here's the thing.
I think he's still coming up, Zach. I think he's still recovering a little bit. So I don't think that's.
Yeah, but Kelvin Johnson's going to take him?
No.
It depends. Well, here's the problem, though. How much are they going to want to put him on the block? He's a guy that's going to want to spread out. Zach, you're going to want that space carved up by Valanciunas. You're going to want as many one-on-ones as you're dang near probably doing a 4-out 1-in on them. right? You're going to do a 4-out-1 in on them because you're going to want that. You're going to want that matchup. You're going to want the smoke with Valanciunas. You're going to say, give me the ball right there on the right block, and take him like I'm going to like take him like Mayweather's going to do the Paul, baby. Knock him out. Mayweather's just going to knock out Paul. He's just going to knock him out. I'm telling you. I think that's what's. I agree. You don't have to look a whole lot further than that matchup.
It's what DJ Deek's going to do to Ryan Gregory on Friday.
But you know the other factor to this, Zach. You know the other factor to this is that when Valanciunas, like his range has been a lot better. So he's not just a inside the paint.
It's not like he was in Toronto.
No, he wasn't. And I agree with Zach and I agree with Bryce on this, and then we'll move on to the next series. Valanciunas is not getting enough talk. He's probably one of the most disrespected players in the NBA. He's been consistently putting up these averages for God knows how long, and
just balls.
Just start respecting him. Hopefully, he gets that attention, and then we'll move on to the next series, the series that's got everybody buzzing: the Warriors and the Lakers. The Warriors with Stephen Curry, the Lakers with LeBron, Anthony Davis, Draymond Green, for a potential elimination game here, folks. I'll have Bryce start it because he's
baby.
He's like a kid on Christmas trying to talk about his love affair with Stephen Curry.
Yeah,
he's trying to talk about his love affair.
We better be done with Fast Five by 10 o'clock, baby. We better be done. We better be done because I gotta watch this game. Oh my goodness, we get Stephen Curry versus LeBron James again. Sign me up. Where do I sign? Just take my money. I'll watch this.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I have my speculations. I have my opinions. I hope my opinions are wrong because I want chaos. I want chaos to ensue.
You're going to get chaos either result.
What do you mean?
Chaos either result. If the Lakers lose, you're going to get chaos. If the Warriors lose, you're going to get chaos.
I don't know about that. Because I think no, I don't know about that because Steph has basically done this season by himself, and he wasn't supposed to. Right? Oubre was supposed to be better than what he was. Now he's hurt.
Come on, Looney, Bryce.
Wiggins has turned into Wiggins. Looney, you know what Looney is. Come on now. I mean, who else? Draymond is. Draymond. This is probably
elite defender. Elite
defender. Yeah, this is probably the best Draymond we've seen in a couple years. So, am I safe in saying that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think he's near the title, Draymond.
In a year.
No. But I'm saying
it's only been 2 years since they were in the finals, Bryce.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying in the past couple of years, though, I think this is the best Draymond we've seen.
Yeah, I agree.
He seems engaged. He seems here to play. He's back talking his smack. He's out for Defensive Player of the Year titles again, and so yeah. I mean, I am so intrigued.
I'd vote for him over Gobert, by the way.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
For Defensive Player of the Year?
I totally would.
But I mean, let's think about this, guys. Stephen Curry is on an absolute tear, stroking it from the 3-point line. I don't know. Again, maybe we haven't seen this in the past couple of years. This might be the best Steph we've seen in a while. I mean, just absolutely obliterating teams by himself. 40 points a night. Anytime I look on the ESPN app, it's like Stephen Curry, 36 to 40 points every game.
Yeah.
So and who's going to guard Steph from the Lakers? Who?
Hey,
Dennis Schroeder?
I got a guy.
Say it.
Playoff KCP?
No,
I got a guy.
Say it.
Alex Caruso.
No,
I thought you were going to say the untouchable asset.
Well, that's
Horton Tucker, baby.
Caruso was mentioned on all he was mentioned in the all defensive teams as a sneaky candidate, but I mean,
that's a joke.
I'm not betting against. I don't see Caruso giving Curry any issues. I don't see Taylor Horton Tucker giving Curry any issues. I don't see Schroeder giving Curry. Giving Curry any issues.
Bet they wish they had Rondo. But they wish they had Rondo.
He wouldn't do anything in this series. In all seriousness,
there you go again with that nonsense.
No, he wouldn't. And not on the he would give him a floor general, but he wouldn't give him the defensive ability. Curry is on another level at this point. And I just don't. The Lakers have nothing to combat it. They're going to want to put a bigger guy on him. Maybe a guy like I think it's a joke that Wes Matthews has gotten all the playing time. That's a freaking travesty that they're not playing Wes Matthews.
Wasting
it's a travesty. That's a joke and a half. And I just, I like KCP, but God bless him. You're probably going to need him on offense more than you are defense. So you're going to need him to guard somebody else. I think Curry is going to go off big. I do. My issue though is what else are you getting? What else are you getting, guys? I just think that's
no, you're right.
It's the wild card of this for the Warriors here. And Zach, I want you to elaborate on this. The wild card for the Warriors just seems to be all over the place, right? You cannot trust. It's very difficult to trust anybody at this point. I mean, do you think that, Jordan Poole's had a nice season, but do you think Jordan Poole is somebody that you can rely on here for a big game? No. Do you think somebody like Andrew Wiggins, who has honestly been playing better this season, can be somebody that you can trust upon in a bigger game? He would probably, you could make the argument, be the second option on this team. He's probably the second option. If Curry's on a double team, who are you setting the play up for? Wiggins, that's what it's gone to for the Warriors. That's a wild card type of player. He can get very hot. He can get very cold. You know what I'm saying? So, Zach, how do you see the Warriors and how they're going to attack the Lakers? Because another thing I've mentioned to you is I can't hit the panic button enough on their size. I do not care. Like, I understand Draymond Green is an elite defender. Okay, I'm not saying he's not. But there's people that want to call him the middle linebacker of the defense, the quarterback of the defense. Well, breaking news. If you're guarding Anthony Davis, you can't be the quarterback of the defense because your job is just going to be to make sure Anthony Davis doesn't do anything on you.
Yeah.
So then you can't have Draymond help out. You can't have Draymond be your recovery guy because he's not going to be thinking about all that other stuff. He's going to be focused on how can I stop Anthony Davis because that's the type of attention he deserves. And I don't give a rip that he's been inconsistent lately. He's going to turn it into playoffs, and you can lock that in.
For Anthony Davis?
And Anthony Davis is going to turn it around. Yes, in the playoffs. Yes. The way that I see it for the Warriors, Zach, is they're seriously going to play Kevon Looney a lot of minutes. Okay, they're going to seriously consider playing some guys. There's
Jordan Bell.
There's nothing to trust him. I can't trust anything that they have down low, Zach. I can't do it.
It's fair. And look, I put this in all caps in my notes. There is no reason for the Lakers to lose this game.
I agree.
I know they've had injuries. I know they've dealt with a lot of different lineups. Their defense has been up and down. I don't care.
I don't care either.
It's a one-man show sitting across from you.
Yeah.
You know what you have to do to win.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're 80% of the way healthy. I don't care. I don't care if you're not supposed to be in the play-in. I don't care if you think the play-in's stupid. Whatever. You have to beat that team. You have to beat that team.
Yep.
Because then, if you beat them, you're looking at Phoenix. You've played well against Phoenix this year. You're liking your chances going forward.
You're liking your chances. Yep.
You have to beat this team. Now,
I agree.
I expect the Lakers to win, but
I do too.
Here's the bet I made that I foreshadowed earlier.
Sure.
I did a little parlay. The Wizards and Warriors money lines for these games.
Yeah, you like that money line.
I think if Curry drops, I think he can pretty much book 40 points for Steph Curry. If he doesn't, they're losing. 40 points and 7 made threes.
Yeah.
And your X factor, Caleb, has to be Wiggins. It has to be Wiggins because, let's be honest, when everybody's on the Warriors, he's the second best offensive player.
And he has had a good season. I'm not trying to back.
And we know he's capable.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You could say he half-asses, and when he was in Minnesota, that was definitely the case, but
yeah,
it's like, dude, if you can't wake up for this game, what game are you going to wake up for?
So let me read you a stat. He has 19 points a game on 5 rebounds, not 2 assists.
For the season?
Yeah. 48% from the field and 38% from 3.
That's great.
And 38% from 3 on 5 attempts a game.
The problem with him has always been consistency because you look at even when Jimmy Butler was there for for a honeymoon.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a honeymoon in the way it felt, but that's what it was. Like, he put up good stats. He's put up good stats every year since he came in the league. Now.
Yeah.
I just think he has to be the dude. And it's like I said, like, dude, if you can't wake up for this game where if we win, we're in the playoffs. We've also played well against Phoenix. We might be able to beat those dudes. Like, come on. You got to wake up. It's got to be Wiggins. It's got to be Wiggins. I think he has to have 20. He has to have 20.
I think he's got to have more. I think he needs 25. I dang near think he may need 30. You can't. And my other issue with this team here, and Bryce, let's talk about I'm going to mention this real quick, and I want to talk the Lakers. The Warriors are a team. Obviously, the injuries have been killing this team, right? Let's not, act like that's just something new here. But when I look at the Warriors this season, they've been a top 5 defensive team based off efficiency stats, which is pretty nuts because you really don't know how. Nobody really understands how. Everybody's like, well, Draymond Green gets the credit for it. But is it smoke show? Like, is it going to be smoke show? Is this something that you can live or die on a hill on, that this team can play like one of the best defensive teams in the playoffs, right? Can you trust a lineup in the playoffs that's Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kent Bazemore, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney being a top 5 defense in the playoffs? I don't know. That seems like a lot.
It does seem like a lot, but I mean, here's the thing. Draymond and Steph have been on the biggest stage several times. Steve Kerr had same thing when it comes to coaching. I'm thinking they could maybe put it together for a game. I think the familiarity with LeBron James and the way LeBron James teams operate, I think are very intriguing. I mean, because in my opinion, any team that LeBron is on kind of looks the same, right? Maybe a little bit different, but kind of the same. LeBron does what he does. He's always looking for an open man. He needs shooters around him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it comes down to Anthony Davis. What is Draymond Green going to do on Anthony Davis?
Well, that's what I want to talk about. Davis has been a very inconsistent factor for this team. A lot of
great matchup.
He's just not been the same right now. He's getting things underway. He's not been what you want Davis to be if you're a Laker fan or you're a fan of this, Davis himself. Like, he's just not been what you wanted. His last 2 games. Now, here's the thing. He had 28 and 8 against Dallas. He was ridiculous in that game. 18 and 7 against the Clips. Only 1 game in his last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 game in his out of 8, he's gotten 30. Like,
yeah, and everybody was like, "Oh, Anthony Davis is back. Settle down."
He's good. He's really good. 27 and 10, 20 and 8, 23 and 10. We're not. Those are, I'm not slouching stats.
But you expect more from a guy like Anthony Davis.
But the problem is we expect a lot more from bigs anyway. We really the problem is it feels like we never get satisfied with the bigs. At least
I disagree with that. I disagree with that 100%. There's only a couple bigs. There's only because there's only a couple bigs that I expect complete dominance. Joel Embiid is absolutely one of them.
Well, you got to put Davis in the conversation.
Davis, yes. Okay. Yes. As he touts himself as a top 5 player in the NBA, yes, I expect more than 20 and 8 or 23 and 10 or 27 and 12. No, I expect more than that.
Hey, Bryce.
Okay.
What?
You know what? Big man dominated the playoffs last year, and he's going to dominate again this year.
What?
You can't think of him?
Jokic?
Well, of course, but another one.
Gobert?
Oh, he didn't dominate, Bryce.
He
blew a 3-1 lead.
Go ahead.
Bam Adebayo.
Oh, man. I can't wait to get some sleep tonight.
I'm getting a little off track, but Bam Adebayo.
I can't wait. I can't wait to fluff up my pillow and sleep tonight. Zach, I can't wait.
You wake up to Miami winning.
I can't wait.
Break it down. Break down the Lakers for me, Zach. What you like, what you dislike.
I mean, like I said, there's no reason for them to lose this game. I think they cause matchup problems for pretty much any team, but especially the Warriors with how depleted they are.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think you're going to see Draymond on LeBron a lot.
Wow.
He's going to have a lot, and we know there's bad blood there. So, there's going to be – Draymond's going to have a massive responsibility on both sides of the floor.
I agree. I
think that was a good point by Bryce. Those three guys on Golden State, they've been through hell and back together. So,
yeah.
They've been through the highest of highs and some pretty low lows too. So I think they could put it together for a game. I'm taking the Lakers though.
I am too.
I just think, I mean, even Drummond causes problems for them, especially when you're talking about Looney, and we might see some big Jordan Bell minutes. I mean, for God's sake.
Yeah.
We just signed this guy like a month ago.
Yeah, and I really hate that Jordan Bell's just getting passed around the league because I really think that he can be a decent player. That's just me.
No,
That's just me.
No, I'm sure Alex.
All right, let's predict it. So okay, Zach. So he's got the Lakers. Bryce, what do you got? Lakers, Warriors.
Y'all want me so bad to do it. But I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the Lakers. I would be pleasantly surprised if the Warriors won, though, and I would get on here and just yell and scream and told you I told you so. Warriors are still here.
I'll say this, for financial reasons, I want the Warriors to win. But also, this is the first time I've rooted for them since 2015.
All right. Well,
I just think it'd be really fun.
Come on, Zach.
That's a nice outro. That's a nice outro. I'll say,
Bryce, no.
I'll say I agree with you guys. Give me the Lakers. Now the question. So we have the Lakers moving on in the 7th seed. Then my question would be: so we believe that do we believe Washington will move on? Who will be the 8th seed in the East Conference?
Washington. Give me Washington.
Well, no. Well. You have Celtics. Well, you have Celtics over Washington, Zach. You have Celtics over Washington. Washington and
no. I think Wizards. I think Wizards move on to play the Nets or the Sixers. I mean.
But then who's the 8th seed? Who's the 8th seed?
Hornets.
Okay. You're going with the Hornets.
That's how it'd work, right?
No, you would have the Wizards would play the Nets in that 7th.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then the Hornets would get the 8th. So you think the Hornets move? You think Celtics don't get it either? You're like me. Are you going as far as I am with Boston not making it? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Bryce, you got anything to counter? Do you think Boston makes it?
No. I mean, I think it's Washington, but I'll say Pacers instead of Hornets.
Fair. Now West, you got the Lakers moving on. We all do. Warriors in for the 8th seed, or are you thinking different directions?
Yes.
Yep.
Thinking Warriors.
I think Warriors, Lakers.
Let's get some variety. I'll take Memphis. I'll take Memphis for the 8th.
I'd like either one.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain about either one.
I think the Grizzlies got a lot to like, and I honestly was very impressed with them, and I felt like Dillon Brooks getting fouled out is genuinely what shifted the game. But Dillon Brooks, if he was honestly able to play for 3 more minutes, I would have felt really good about the Grizzlies pulling that out. He was really good. I think he's a big factor to their game plan, and I like the Grizzlies' depth a lot. I think that's the part that I really like about him. And I really think that Taylor Jenkins is going to show why he's a good coach on the national stage.
Yeah.
So I want this. I want that smoke. I think the Grizzlies could play with house fire. Other than that, this is going to be the conclusion of our podcast. Check out for all of the pods that will be available to you. The Battleground will be coming out with some pods. Divine Rhyme will be discussing some Schoolboy Q albums, particularly Crash Talk. The Facts and Stats for J.D. Hall, From One Young Soul to Another, Dylan Hughes book. Den of Dorks with DJ Deke. Zach, is there any other pod that you want to just kind of talk about more in depth? I mentioned it in the beginning for you. But do you have any that you want to get more depth with, or did I pretty much cover it?
Boys in the Hood 30th anniversary with JD and his brother Jamal. That's going to be next week, hopefully. Okay. I'm really looking forward to that. One of my favorite movies. Ice Cube's best performance. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking really.
Are we there yet? Wasn't up there for you?
No, it didn't quite break it, but I'm looking forward to hearing what those guys have to say about it. It's groundbreaking movie.
Yeah, no question about it. That should be something to keep your eye on, to listen to as that continues. And look, we'll have plenty of podcasts coming for you. Next week, we'll have the NBA playoffs bracket. The other thing not mentioned that we haven't mentioned yet on this pod, is I'm going to be drafting series for this podcast. So anybody that's interested and wants to hear the LynnSanity podcast talk about certain playoff series, please don't be afraid to reach out at Caleb Lynn1, at Zach Griffith, at Bryce Shadday, just to get your thoughts. What do you want us to talk about? What series do you want us to talk about in both conferences? I'm pretty sure the Knicks are on lock. So anyone that wants to hear Zach talk about the Knicks, that's on lock for us. But I think other than that, everything's pretty much on the open chase. I think everything else is possibly in play, but I know we've been given the Knicks. So Zach, I know you're eager for that.
Zach loves talking Knicks in the playoffs.
Let me clear something up before we come off the air here.
Yeah.
My problem has never been with the Knicks as a team. My problem has been with the media coverage they get and the way they're run.
You can't like the way they're still ran now, especially up top.
No.
Okay.
But I mean, look, I wouldn't say I'm rooting for the Knicks, but I'm happy. I'm happy for the fans.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, 8 years without playoffs.
Right. No, it's a lot.
It sucks. So I'm happy for the fans. I'm happy for Julius Randle.
Sure.
So yeah. Let's go.
100%. Yep, we have everything covered for you. It should be a terrific week on the network, and we'll also have a LynnSanity pod later this week with Will Hogshead and Devin Voss reacting to the playing games. Without further ado, thank you very much for listening.